sparing his time and gracing this occasion. Gratitude and regards to Dr. Vinod Paul, Member Health, Niti Aayog, and Dr. Vijay Raghavanji, Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, for consenting to join the function and encouraging us with their presence and the kind words. I'm further honored to welcome Ms. S. Aparna, Secretary of the Department, Secretary Ayush, other senior officers of the department and other ministries, directors and faculty of NIPER, and most of us, our industry friends, to whom the portal to be launched is basically has been targeted. As all of you are aware, there are presently 7 NIPERs functioning all across the country, which do postgraduate and doctorate education, as well as conduct high-end research in pharma and medical device sector. The NIPER at Mohali is, of course, an old one with their 2 decades old, and other NIPERs are basically, other 6 NIPERs have been set up subsequently, and they are also setting up in the group. During recent times, department has basically invested quite a lot in the NIPERs in sense of money, funding given to them to set up their labs, sanctioning their regular faculty posts, of which most of them have been filled up, and as well as expediting the construction of their campuses. This basically has resulted in improved performance of NIPERs, which can be gathered from the improved ranking in the NIF rank, which is an annual ranking declared by the Ministry of Education every year, and of which for the current year, 5 of our NIPERs are in the top 20 and 3 of the NIPERs are in top 10. I would also like to inform the gathering that promotion and coordination of research in the pharma sector is basically one of the mandate of the department, and in which NIPERs have been contributing quite a lot, and basically department has set up an interdepartmental council, which is basically working therein, and our NIPERs, which are the technical team of the department, are basically supporting us. And 2 of the initiatives of this interdepartmental collaboration being a detailed report on R&D submitted by this committee, which basically has been converted into a draft policy, which is policy for catalyzing R&D and innovation in the pharma sector. Second, basically what has come out from this interdepartmental cooperation is a project on drug discovery for affordable healthcare. And NIPERs have really taken great lead therein. Also, recently, one of the initiatives of the Secretary Pharma was to have a common research program for all the NIPERs. And that initiative has basically led to the launch of this portal. While developing this common research program, we basically interacted amongst the NIPERs. So it has to be a common program to cater to the need of the country. And while formulating this program, we basically presented this program to the industry association at the first instance and to the industry leaders at the second instance. And at that stage, we noticed that most of the industry leaders are unaware of the research being done by the NIPERs. It's basically they are unaware of the expertise available with the NIPERs, the resources available with them. So that led us to think that maybe this research should be brought to a common platform, which basically other researchers and industry can have a look and basically then further collaborate. So keeping that in mind, we basically have developed a NIPER research portal, which will be inaugurated by the Honorable Minister today. And that research portal we will basically share the subsequent details thereof. So with this few words, I'd like now to invite Honorable Secretary Pharma, Ms. S. Aparna, to share her thoughts. Thank you.
Namaskar, Honorable Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers and Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya ji, Honorable Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Shri Bhagwant Kuba Sahib, Honorable Member Health Niti, Dr. V.K. Paul Sahib, Honorable Principal Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister, Professor Vijay Raghavan Sahib, my dear industry colleagues, Secretary Ayush, Dr. Kotecha Sahib, colleagues who are directors of the NIPERs, and industry representatives. I welcome all of you to this short program to launch NIPER Research Portal. As all of you are aware, we had one NIPER in this country at SAS Nagar from the early 1990s. In 2007-8, 6 more NIPERs were established by the Government of India in different parts of the country. However, there was no commensurate resource allocation in the early years, and most of the NIPERs were woefully underfunded in comparison to other institutes of national importance. Even now, the latest financial approvals granted by the Ministry of Finance only cover part of the requirement for building up NIPERs as truly institutes of national importance. However, these challenges have only brought out the best in the Department of Pharmaceuticals and NIPERs. The NIPERs are being strongly encouraged by the department under the leadership of Honorable Minister to push forward with their research programs in the pharmaceutical sector. All of you are aware that the pharmaceutical sector is an evolving sector, and the importance of research and innovation has never been more important and more apparent than in the last 2 years of the global pandemic. We have seen the need for new drugs, repurposed drugs, safer drugs, more efficacious drug, and most importantly, more affordable drugs to help mankind. Therefore, the department, under the guidance of Honorable Minister, has decided to bring initiatives that will make NIPER's research program have greater focus on the needs of the hour. It will also promote research work that is more relevant to the current evolving needs of the sector and the requirements of the patient community. And third, our endeavor will be to strengthen industry-academia linkage. The portal that is being launched today by Honorable Minister is a step in this direction. As will be seen in the presentation that will follow, the portal brings together all the ongoing research projects of the 7 NIPER institutes in a searchable database that will be available to other researchers as well as to industry. The purpose of this portal is to give an immediate and authentic availability of the research work that is ongoing, which will help other researchers and especially industry to get in touch with the relevant organization so that they can work together and make the research more purposeful and meaningful. For long, research institutions have been working in silos or in isolation. The level of interaction that is required among the institutions and between research institutions and industry has been relatively low. The research portal will try to bring together research institutions spread across different departments within government and also these institutions with industry. We must remember that research and innovation is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the sustained growth of the pharmaceutical sector. It is a necessity for ensuring health and well-being of our people. Therefore, this research portal is a measure of the urgency that all of us need to provide to collaborative and translational research. A lot of the research that benefits pharmaceutical sector takes place in the research institutions under Department of Biotechnology, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Ayush, ICMR, etc. In fact, even DRDO has institutions that take up pharmaceutical research. Having brought all the research projects of the 7 NIPERs under one roof, which will be transparently available to these stakeholders. Department of Pharmaceuticals has also written to all the scientific departments, namely DBT, Ayush, ICMR, DSIR, DST, requesting that their research institutions which are working on pharmaceutical research may like to join this portal and also contribute the details of the work that they are undertaking, which will then help to strengthen the database and benefit industry as well as academic researchers to have all the information of ongoing research at one place. Honorable Minister, sir, we have invited industry leaders also here today because we feel that this portal is an important step in institutionalizing academia and industry linkage. While the large pharma companies have their own research establishments, the smaller companies, the SMEs, the mid-sized pharma companies do not have the resources to set up their own research wings. They can benefit from the research going on in the NIPERs, and they can also provide their inputs on the research problems that they would like the researchers in NIPERs to work on. This will act as a win-win situation for the large, mid-size and small-scale pharma manufacturing units to avail of the talent and the research resources available in NIPERs. I hope and pray that other scientific departments will also join this portal and strengthen it. And this portal will help us to identify areas for research that should be pursued as a collaborative and coordinated exercise. Honorable Member Niti Aayog and Honorable PSA are present here today. We are grateful for your presence and guidance. Under your guidance, we are now trying to move forward with a mission for drug discovery and drug development for affordable healthcare. In the initial stages, this mission is, of course, focusing on the requirements for tackling the ongoing pandemic. However, in the days going forward, I hope with your kind guidance, NIPERs will be able to further their work on basic drug discovery and drug development, which are missing elements in pharmaceutical research in India. I believe strongly that while Indian pharmaceutical sector is very, very competent in generic space, the time has come for the sector to move into innovation, come up with patented drugs, move into the advanced pharmaceutical products, including biopharmaceuticals, phytopharmaceuticals, pharmaceuticals arising from traditional medicine and natural products. I hope with the combined blessings of all the dignitaries present today, our team of 7 NIPERs will be able to take forward this research portal and translate it into something that will benefit the sector, our country, and our people. I thank all of you for your guidance and for your presence. I particularly thank Honorable Minister for finding time in his very, very busy schedule for this launch, which I hope, sir, will be the first of many such initiatives that we will take in pharmaceutical research. Thank you.
Thanks for your kind words and basically tracing the trajectory of the growth of NIPERs, highlighting the need for interdepartmental collaboration in research and development, enhanced academia industry linkage, and how this portal will basically benefit us all and industry particularly for continued collaboration and cooperation in this regard. We have Honorable Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, Professor K. Vijay Raghavanji with us. So I'll now request Professor Vijay Raghavan to share his thoughts and guide us with the way ahead. Professor Vijay Raghavan.
धन्यवाद. माननीय मंत्री जी श्री मनसुख मांडविया, माननीय MOS जी श्री भगवंत खुबा, सेक्रेटरी अपर्णा जी, श्री विनोद पॉल, डॉक्टर विनोद पॉल, मेंबर नीति, वैद्य राजेश कोटेचा, नाइपर के डायरेक्टर कर्ण और सब यहाँ जो उपस्थित हैं, नमस्ते. मैं आज ज़रा एक डॉक्टर अपर्णा को सुनने के बाद एक ज़रा हिस्ट्री दे दूंगा वेरी ब्रीफली कि ड्रग्स और फार्मा कैसे आए हैं हमारे हाथ पे और आगे कैसे चलनी चाहिए. If we look at our history of medicinal plants, in the 17th century, when the Dutch had colonized the Malabar coast, आज जो केरला, कर्नाटका और गोवा है, वहाँ एक डच एक्सप्लोरर वैन रीड कह के, वो गवर्नर भी था उस टाइम पे, वो वैद्य इट्टी अच्युतन से पार्टनर करके एक 12 वॉल्यूम का किताब लिखा, हॉर्टस मलाबारिकस. उसमें डिटेल्ड डिस्क्रिप्शन है जो दवाई वैद्य देते हैं, कौन कौन से प्लांट से देते हैं और उसका क्या असर पड़ता है. ये हॉर्टस मलाबारिकस बिफोर लिनेयसिस क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ प्लांट्स था और उससे अगर आज देखें कई मॉलिक्यूल्स आइसोलेट हुए हैं जो मॉडर्न कंटेम्पररी मेडिसिन में यूज किए जाते हैं. सो दिस वाज द वे अर्ली डेवलपमेंट ऑफ कंटेम्पररी मेडिसिन टुक प्लेस on the wisdom and experience of ancient civilizations in India, in South America, in Central Asia and so on. उससे जब केमिस्ट्री की ग्रोथ हुई, we had the chemistry of natural products, and as I said, they isolated in some cases effectively the active ingredients of this, and this resulted also in later on the ability to synthesize these and use them in medicines over the course of the 20th century. साथ साथ जब antibiotics discover हुए, they were isolated. Early on, they had to be isolated from fungi, and then they were synthesized. And again, chemistry took off and allowed the synthesis not only of available antibiotics, but modified them so that new classes of antibiotics could come. Later in the 20th century, and this is exemplified by the response to AIDS, the anti-HIV drugs which were developed were extraordinary because they were designer drugs. They were designed to act against specific parts of the HIV virus, the reverse transcriptase and other enzymes. And this is a very great example of how computer-aided designer drugs were taken to the bench and then manufactured, and India is one of the biggest producers of these drugs as generics. Later on, as the biotech revolution started, and you could design genes and put them back into bacteria and make products, this resulted in the use of biotech in drug discovery. Many molecules which were identified naturally in humans, which were involved in inhibiting various kinds of diseases, problems such as blood pressure and so on and so forth. These could then be designed synthetically, put in bacteria or other kinds of cell systems, and overproduced in large ways. One example of this is insulin. Insulin was first isolated in dogs and shown how it could be used against diabetes. And later on, insulin was marketed by large-scale isolation from animals, such as pigs. But with the genetic engineering revolution, insulin now can be made in the laboratory on large scale. Now, with this background, where do we stand? It is important, as Aparna ji mentioned, that we move from a country which can understand any kind of science and technology and manufacture products which have been developed and innovated elsewhere in large scale. So our powerhouse in generics and biologics is really absolutely fantastic. And this has also been seen in the vaccine industry now. Now, this is something which we have to be proud of. Many people say, "Arey, sirf generics karte hain." To do generics is not a small thing, and to do it properly, to meet standards, and to distribute it is not at all an easy job. So we must congratulate our industry and help them in every possible way to grow even more in this sector. How did this sector of industry arise? This arose because of two very important reasons, which predate the NIPERs and from which the NIPERs can also learn. These came from our investment in national laboratories, such as the Institute for Chemical Technology in Hyderabad of CSIR, the National Physical Laboratory of CSIR, the University Department of Chemical Technology, the Central Drug Research Institute in Lucknow, and our university system, where medicinal chemistry, organic chemistry, Delhi used to be a powerhouse with Dr. Sheshadri's, who was a fellow of the Royal Society, his medicinal chemistry group. These groups resulted in the development of extraordinarily talented human resources who went into enterprise or their own or joint companies, and these formed the bedrock of our industrial growth in generics and biologics. Later on, when the NIPERs came, again, the NIPERs played a very critical role, which is underappreciated. While we must, of course, strengthen the NIPERs now greatly, and I'll come to that, I'll end with that. The NIPERs, our pharma departments all over the country, have contributed to extraordinary human resources, and many of the top Indians in drug discovery and drug companies and pharma companies all over the world have come from our pharma courses and from our NIPERs more recently. So again, in terms of human resource development and training, we have had an extraordinary base, and that too needs to be amplified, and I'll come to that. Now, finally, what is the situation now before I come to end with about how we can go forward? The situation now is actually very competitive and tough. We have extraordinary competence and capability, but we have to translate this competence and capability into being competitive in industry nationally and internationally. How do we do this in a situation where global pharma, global biologics, even the search for drugs from traditional medicine, other countries are pushing ahead really extraordinarily fast. They are huge powerhouses, they have huge talent, and they have huge resources. Therefore, it is not enough for us to say, "Oh, we shall fight, we shall do great things," but we must decide how to do this. Now, the problem is that industry everywhere else in the world have got extraordinary resources in R&D, and they have connected to an extraordinary R&D ecosystem in chemistry, biology, and drug discovery. Right? Each big pharma company spends for its R&D every year more than the entire US National Science Foundation spends for its research. So they spend billions of dollars. And they're billions of dollars both in-house and in distributed manner. So this is the competition we face. And yet, I am confident that we can actually go forward despite this competition for three reasons. One, as I mentioned, we have an extraordinary history of human resource development. Number one, what we must do is to expand this human resource development into our ecosystem broadly. Today, 90% of our research funds go to our elite institutions where 10% of our students go. 90% of our students go to colleges and universities where there's little research. Expanding this footprint of research into the 90% area where our students go will allow our human resource capability through computational, experimental medicine, traditional routes, using our medical colleges, using our engineering colleges, our computer science colleges, we will have an enormous human resource potential which is competitive anywhere in the world. So that is job number one. The second problem Aparna ji alluded to is a siloed structure. Any problem we take, we have the answer, but we tend to put suboptimal resources from many departments, many components of private industry and university, and therefore, when you put suboptimal money, you will not get the output. There are resources available, and we must pool them together in a way. And this portal, which Mantriji is inaugurating today, is an extraordinary step forward. So move away from silos. And we have talked a lot about moving away, and a structure to move away is necessary. This portal is one aspect. But I would urge Mantriji, who is the health minister as well as the pharma minister, to work with the ecosystem, challenge them and say, it is enough about saying that we will sit together in a committee and decide what to do, but we must also do together. And this is the challenge going forward. So breaking our silos and having structures where we put our resources into one pot, have one kind of management and get things done. जब जंग होती है, ये नहीं है कि मैं थोड़ा यहाँ लड़ूंगा और कोई वहां लड़ेंगे, साथ मिलकर लड़ना पड़ता है। और ये जंग है क्योंकि ये जंग हेल्थ के बारे में सिर्फ नहीं है, एनिमल हेल्थ के बारे में भी है और प्लानिटरी हेल्थ के बारे में भी है. So this is something which is very important, breaking silos. Now the last part, it's all very well to say we must, not work in silos. How does that happen given that we are against this huge powerhouse outside? Indian pharma and biotech industry is unusual compared to other Indian industries in the amount of effort it has put in the R&D. So congratulations to them on that. Now, for them to be globally competitive in innovation, and they're trying to do that, and they've got many interesting successes. For that to scale, we need a partnership between industry and academia. Now, if you put on a map of India all the top scientific institutions in the countries, the NIPERs, the CSIR labs, the DST labs, the DBT labs, the All India Institutes of Medical Sciences, other colleges, it is dotted all over the country. The doors of these top institutions need to be open now for partnership with industry. There is nothing wrong and everything that is right in partnering with industry, and mechanisms of partnering with industry so that the problems of our country, which are different, both lifestyle diseases and infectious diseases, which are different from the world, they can be addressed both for India and for the rest of the world. To do this, we need a national pharma and biotech mission, which of a kind which we can learn from what has happened in the semiconductor mission. India was constantly told that we have missed the bus in semiconductors. But the leadership which has recently demonstrated how to get out of that by forming the semiconductor mission, which has got design and hardware fab development at its core, which has performance production-linked incentives, which gets in the best companies nationally and internationally. That scale of imagination we should bring about to the pharma mission and the biotech mission, working together under the leadership of the pharma ministry, bringing in a Department of Biotechnology, Science and Technology, CSIR and others. This is something very feasible. This is now January of 2022. If we work hard together, in a few months, even before the middle of this year, we will have the drafts ready for such a major mission. And under the leadership of the Mantriji, we can take it forward and do well with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Vijay Raghavan, for your insightful talk. Tracing the history of the drug development in the country, need for stressing upon the need for shifting from generic to innovation, uh, importance of the development of human resources, and thanks for basically appreciating the role played by the NIPERs in this regard. You also laid stress on the breaking silos, not within the departments, various departments of the government of India, but to enhance the academy industry linkage, and basically how we can compete with the global players. And basically, we will certainly work on your suggestion on a pharma and biotech mission. Sir, we also have Dr. Vinod Paul, member NITI, and who has always been guiding the department in its various initiatives in pharma and medtech sector. So now I'll request Dr. Vinod Paul to share his thoughts on the subject. Dr. Paul.
Namaste. Can you just confirm that I am audible?
Yes. Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste. Good morning. Honorable Union Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers, respected Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya ji, Honorable Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, respected Bhagwan Khube ji, respected Dr. Vijay Raghavan, Principal Scientific Advisor, Secretary Pharma ma'am, Secretary Ayush, distinguished and very eminent directors of the 7 jewels of India, the NIPERs, distinguished faculty of NIPERs, distinguished captains of the pharma industry of our great nation. Friends, thank you very much for this opportunity for me to be here at the inaugural event of launch of NIPER's research portal today. I congratulate Secretary Pharma and the team and the NIPERs for conceiving this idea and putting it all together over a very short period of time. I know this idea took place recently and it has been put in place. It's a very, very important step in the direction of having a path that will accelerate our performance in the sphere of pharmaceutical research. There is no doubt. Brings together the community of NIPERs. It brings together the scientists and the PhD scholars and the faculty and the labs together. And as Secretary Pharma said, and Dr. Vijay Raghavan ji built on that, we look forward to this community to be a larger circle, a bigger circle with other players, other institutions, and other networks, such as the IIT, such as the AIMSs, so on, would also be a part of this large circle of the nation. This is of the nation, for the nation. I must say that despite limited budgets, NIPERs have created an identity of their own, of your own. I congratulate you. 7 jewels of India. That's what NIPERs you are. That's your potential. Everything is not perfect in the early stages of any institution. I belong to an institution and had almost 5 decades of work at an institution which at its inception looked very simple, looked very difficult to run, difficult to sustain, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi. But it was the people which made the difference. What kind of budgets did we have in the 50s or 70s until recently? And yet my institution, within 6 years of its existence, because of great people, great leaders, had already sorted out the problem of iodine, the endemic goiter due to iodine deficiency in the world. The team led by Dr. V. Ramanangaswamy demonstrated that salt iodization is the answer. Today, that disease does not exist for practical purposes, not only in India, not only in Nepal. And this work was done in the earliest thin, low budget phase of the All India. Ingenuity, which is important. Of course, I stand by bigger budgets, ma'am, and Honorable Minister, sir. NIPERs deserve a lot more budget, and I think we should do an exercise to see what is an optimum budget for an institution, for the institutions of the kind that we have envisaged. Have listed the objectives and the goals of these institutions. The budgets have to be optimal, and we are together in that effort to get the highest possible budget. So more money for NIPER, but also more research out of NIPERs for the money that you get. And that's the other side of the coin where I would like to make 4 or 5 points. First, I think some words must be spoken today in terms of the frontiers of pharmaceuticals and medical products and therapeutics. And that is where we may have a comparative advantage. We must work for the classical pharmaceutical molecule, no doubt about it. We must, and we have unique positioning where we can show our nation with industry being on our side and the global understanding of the global scenario. Yes, we can create a niche where we can make a difference, particularly for those problems where our own nation has challenges to face. So there is no doubt. But I think the time has come for us to rapidly catch up with the frontier. The frontiers would mean cell-based therapies. Frontiers would mean biosimilars. Frontiers, in some sense, also mean the Ayush products, which are waiting to be sorted out once and for all through the filter of science of the highest level. We're looking at precision medicine. We're looking at complex generics. We're looking at recombinant drugs and so on. And I know that we have the potential. We have laboratories that have such products in the making, but they need to be taken forward. So first is the wish list. The wish list is a big wish list. We are looking at precision medicine to sort out cancer on individual basis. We're looking at solutions which will protect us against coronaviruses of every kind. That research is needed today. The results are needed in 100 days. An application required in 120 days. So first is the wish list. The second is perhaps my most important intervention, Honorable Sir. So what happens is that the journey of science, and I have seen it closely, I have felt it, I have contributed to it, and I'm saying it from very personal experience. The journey of science, particularly for a product, a medical product, pharmaceutical product, is beset with valleys of death. ये डेथ वैली हो जाती है सर. हम इसको इस पैराडाइम को इस तरह से लेते हैं कि लैब में बहुत सारी पॉसिबिलिटीज हमें दिखाई देती ये कैंसर ठीक कर. आप किसी पीएचडी स्टूडेंट से या फैकल्टी से पूछोगे वो बहुत आगे का सोचता है कि ये तो मिल गया मुझे मॉलिक्यूल. लेकिन एक बायोलॉजिकल प्लॉजिबिलिटी अलोन डज नॉट मीन क्लिनिकल इम्पैक्ट. पहले तो ये सबको लेके चलना चाहिए, डायरेक्टर्स ऑफ नाइपर्स इंक्लूडेड. एक बायोलॉजिकल प्लॉजिबिलिटी से सारे सोल्यूशन नहीं होते. हाइड्रोक्सीक्लोरोक्विन से ज्यादा बायोलॉजिकल प्लॉजिबिलिटी टू वर्क इन कोरोना और किसी में नहीं थी. We all knew it. We all wedded with it. When we went through the proper system, it to be useless. So please understand and let your students know every day, biological plausibility alone does not mean clinical or a community. Because there's so much in biology which we don't understand. Tomorrow we'll understand why hydroxychloroquine did not work with an equally convincing PhD thesis. So biological plausibility excites. But then one of those possibilities will be the true drug which will work. How do you take it from the lab, from the bench to the bed, is our real most difficult challenge that I have faced in my life. And I have seen efforts to sort it out by people like Professor Bhan in PBT and others. This valley of death, sir, is to be bridged. What does it mean, sir? It means the following, that a scientist in a NIPER discovers a molecule. Now this molecule has to become a GMP level product. के लिए तो इंडस्ट्री चाहिए. इसी नाइपर में थोड़ा बहुत हम GMP बना लेंगे, लेकिन फॉर्मल एक प्रोडक्ट को ट्रायल करना है अगर 2000 में, तो वो भी इंडस्ट्री चाहिए. तो पहला है कि इंडस्ट्री से ब्रिज होना चाहिए. ये वैल्यू हमें उसको बराबर. After we have a GMP level product, then it has to be tested on patient. NIPER के पास तो पेशेंट नहीं है. पेशेंट तो मेडिकल कॉलेजेस में होते हैं, डिस्ट्रिक्ट अस्पताल में होते हैं, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के और आउटलेट्स में होते हैं, एम्स में होते हैं. हमारा ये कनेक्ट ही नहीं होता कि हम कहाँ जाए. हमें उसको ब्रिज करना है. और उसके बाद में जो काम करना शुरू करेंगे क्लिनिकल ट्रायल के लिए, उस टीम में हमें क्लिनिशियन चाहिए, हमें बायोस्टैटिस्टिशियन चाहिए, हमें क्लिनिकल ट्रायल ऑर्गेनाइजर चाहिए जो कि जाके डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं. इसका मतलब ये है कि सिर्फ फार्मास्यूटिकल रिसर्चर, he or she alone cannot deliver. This valley of death cannot be crossed by that scientist alone. That's only a beginning. But that beginning is, of course, critical. Therefore, in order to cross the valley of death, we need collaboration. We need linkages. We need, for sure, linkage with the industry. We need, for sure, linkage with the regulatory system. क्यों वो बीच में आ जाते हैं. Ethics की बात आती है. बहुत तरह के सवाल पूछे जाते हैं. हमें परमिशन लेनी पड़ती है क्लिनिकल ट्रायल की जाके. फिर हमें पेशेंट्स चाहिए. फिर हमें एनालिसिस वाले लोग चाहिए. बायोस्टैटिस्टिशियन चाहिए. तो ये सारी टीम आती है, तब जाके एक प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर होता है. दिस अप्लाइज टू आयुष प्रोडक्ट, दिस अप्लाइज टू न्यू इंसुलिन, एंड दिस अप्लाइज टू न्यू कैंसर ड्रग. People in other nations have mastered this, and they drive it also a lot through the force of the money that they give to get people. इसमें एक एस्पेक्ट और कहना चाहता हूँ, वो ये है कि आप अपने स्टूडेंट्स को, नाइपर डायरेक्टर के लिए मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है, आप जरूर उनको ये कहिएगा कि आपकी डिस्कवरी तब तक अधूरी है जब तक एक क्लिनिशियन आपको साथ तो ट्रायल करने के लिए तैयार नहीं. जो क्लिनिशियन 1 साल लगाएगा अपना काम करने के लिए, उसको भी ओनरशिप होनी चाहिए. ये प्रोडक्ट किसी एक का नहीं हो सकता. ये पेटेंट भी इकट्ठे होने चाहिए, इसका कंट्रीब्यूशन इकट्ठा माना चाहिए. तो नाइपर एम्स का एक प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है, एम्स अलोन का भी नहीं. तो ये लेके चलिएगा कि टीम से ही डिलीवर होगा. जब फार्मा इंडस्ट्री में रिसर्च होती है तो ये सब अंदर हो जाता है. लेकिन अगर हम एकेडेमिया से लेके आते हैं तो हमें विजिबल पार्टनर चाहिए हु आर इक्वली पैशनेट. द क्लिनिशियन आल्सो हैज टू बी इक्वली पैशनेट एज द डिस्कवरर ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट इन अ नाइफ. Therefore, I urge that please, this has to be wired. And for this, I request NIPER director and person leaders like Dr. Vijay Raghavan and others, we should help them to create a system where the valley of death has a beautiful bridge and there is a seamless flow of the molecule from the bench to the industry and to the patient. And that's, I think, something which is the biggest challenge in our journey. I had a product in 1992. By the time it became a GMP product, it was 2005. By the time I got grant to test this in clinical setting, sufficient grant equivalent to something like 12 crore. Only then can you sort out these products. These products cannot be sorted out with a grant of 30 lakhs or 20 lakhs and 15 lakhs. This was the year 2014 and 15. This is the time that was lost for a product. The bench to bed journey has to be hastened. The valleys of death have to be bridged, and that's the job of the government, job of the scientists and the leader, and the industry as well that we must accomplish. Otherwise, this pipeline will not move. We must address this. My 3 other points are very simple. Firstly, NIPERs, you have to be able to attract budgets beyond your normal budgets. You must compete for getting research funding from the best sources, including the National Research Organization. You have to be competitive. You have to be able to write projects that are resilient, that are robust, and that you deliver on time, and you create a reputation that yes, you can deliver. And of course, go for international funding. Why not? I would urge here that the industry should support NIPER in certain way. And I plead here, and I give a suggestion out here, that let industry form a NIPER research fund where they can put CSR money, and that can be used for priority research areas for any of the NIPER faculty, any of the NIPER scholars, and let that trust money be available to NIPER. It would show that you are keen, you are interested to strengthen NIPER. Put the money. create a fund and let there be a governance structure of that fund such that you have confidence. It will not be frittered away. But please come forth. If you cannot afford your own massive research program, can you all together create an aspirational fund of, let's say, 300 crore the next 1 year? And let that be used systematically. We need money. The the product cannot be delivered with thin budget. It has to be in mission mode. India has to show that we can do. Government should do its own part and it will. But industry, this may be one way of helping it. And we talked about that. That is the next point, the industry-academia collaboration. There is a facilitatory collaboration. There is a collaboration that you would offer for the students of NIPERs to come and work in the industry, to get a feel of the industry. You connect with them, you guide them. Then I think part of that collaboration is, I suggest, a fund that you create to support research in these great institutions that India has established. My last point is, again, a request to the NIPER faculty and NIPER director. Please create a vibrant pan-NIPER identity and आप थोड़े अलग-अलग थे, एक vibrant community बनाना है. I am the strongest votary for autonomous character of these institutions of MA. You have and you should have academic autonomy. You should have scientific autonomy. Yes, for financial, you have to be responsible to be accountable to the government of India, because that's where you get your funds. We are the rover of India. But then other than that, your autonomy is very important for you to succeed, and I believe in that. You are mini university, you are technical university, and academic freedom, scientific freedom. But then you deliver you deliver science at the end of it. You deliver highly educated graduates and postgraduates. You run the best PhD program, and you create a fervor and a work culture where research and science pervades in the breadth and in the ecosystem of your institution. So you create a pan-NIPER, entity. You may call it academy, you may call it partner, whatever, where you are talking to each other. You are conducting PhD programs which are spanning, let's say, 2 or 3 NIPER. So there could be strengths out there. Joint programs, annual meetings, monthly seminars, combined readings, get Nobel laureates to talk to your students, so on. So create a vibrant scientific community where you drive the whole process, because you are the leaders. And this is very important. You have to be cooperating with each other. You also have to be competing with each other. And through this discourse will come ideas to pick up big ticket research and other missions where you can all work together. I'm truly grateful to Madam Aparna for the kind invitation. I'm truly grateful to the Honorable Minister for the opportunity and the time that I received for putting forth my thoughts from the heart, sir. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul, for sharing your decade-long experience in the sector and basically guiding the NIPER directors and faculties who are available in the program. Basically, your stress on the whole chain from the lab to the clinical trial to the drug discovery and to reaching it to the patient is really worth emulating. We'll work on it, and basically a number of suggestions you have given, sir, for the NIPERs, we will certainly work on it. We also have the Honorable Minister of State, Bhagwan Kubaji, with us, who is patiently waiting for quite a long, and I'm really thankful to him for joining from, like, he's on tour, but he's still joining on this important program. So I'll request Kuba sir to give his word of wisdom and to encourage us further to work on it. Thank you. Over to you, Dr.
नाइपर अनुसंधान पोर्टल का उद्घाटन के अवसर पर उद्घाटक के रूप में बड़े मंत्री जी डॉक्टर मनसुख भाई मांडविया जी और इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित सभी मान्यवर, भारत आजाद की 75 साल की अमृत महोत्सव के मनाने के पर्व पर और आने वाला 25 साल के अंदर भारत का 100 साल की आजादी स्वर्णोत्सव के समय पर इस फार्मास्यूटिकल क्षेत्र के अंदर भारत कहां पर खड़ा होना, उसका लक्ष्य लेकर के हमने आज से ही अनुसंधान क्षेत्र के अंदर विशेष करके नाइपर्स, उद्योग जगत के सभी उद्योगपति और भारत सरकार के सभी मंत्रालय, संबंधित मंत्रालय आज भारत में यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में और उनका प्रेरणा से, उनका सपनों को लेकर के माननीय बड़े मंत्री जी डॉक्टर मनसुख भाई मांडविया जी उन सपनों को लेकर के सभी डिपार्टमेंट्सों को इनका भी सहयोग और दिशा निर्देशन के अंदर फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज और हमारा डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर नाइपर्स अनुसंधान का क्षेत्र में बहुत ही अच्छा काम करने का प्रेरणा अपने को मिल रहा है। और आज नाइपर अनुसंधान के साथ आज जो पोर्टल किया है कि उद्योग जगत के सभी उद्योगपति, उन उद्योगपतियों का भी संशोधन केंद्र से संशोधन होते हुए और इस कॉमन पोर्टल पर जैसे प्रधानमंत्री जी और हमारा बड़े मंत्री जी कहते हैं कि साइलो के अंदर काम करने से ज्यादा लाभ नहीं होता है और शेयरिंग एंड केयरिंग से सचमुच में लाभ होता है। यही एक मंत्र को लेकर के आज नाइपर पोर्टल ने जो उद्घाटन किया है, इस पोर्टल में हर क्षेत्र के लोग संशोधन करके इस पर शेयर करेंगे तो सभी मिलकर के देश फार्मास्यूटिकल क्षेत्र के अंदर बहुत ही अवसर है, उस अवसर को लाभ में परिवर्तन करते हुए देश को विश्व के अंदर एक महत्वपूर्ण स्थान देने का सामर्थ्य और अवसर भी है। आज भारत विश्व को तीसरे बड़ा फार्मास्यूटिकल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग देश है। भारत फार्मास्यूटिकल्स के अलावा मेडिकल डिवाइसेस के अंदर भी अपने की बहुत ही अवसर है। तो ये सारे अवसरों को हम देखा है पिछले 7.5 साल में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र भाई मोदी जी का प्रेरणा से पिछले साल कोरोना का महामारी के संदर्भ में भारत ने वैक्सीनेशन का उत्पादन किया और बड़े मंत्री जी मनसुख भाई मांडविया जी का दिशा निर्देशन के अंदर आज भारत के अंदर करीब 175 करोड़ वैक्सीनेशन हमने कर दिखाया है यशस्वी से और विश्व को एक आश्चर्य के रूप में भारत का सामर्थ्य को देखने को मिला। जब भारत के अंदर इतना सामर्थ्य है, भारत के पास इतना संसाधन भी है और भारत के पास इच्छा शक्ति भी है, तो ये सारे चीजों को जोड़ करके हमने अनुसंधान क्षेत्र में ज्यादा से ज्यादा जोर दे करके हमने यदि किया तो आने वाला स्वर्णोत्सव के समय पर भारत विश्व का पहला नंबर देश होगा। और हम भारतीय, हम ये लोग हैं कि पर्यावरण को भी पूजा करने वाले लोग हैं। वायु हो, जल हो, इसको बचाते हुए आगे पीढ़ियों को लेके जा करके ये लक्ष्य में रखते हुए भी हमको अनुसंधान करना है। तो आज इस अवसर पर माननीय बड़े मंत्री जी जो मुझे बोलने के लिए मौका दिया है, तो मंत्री जी को भी मैं अभिनंदन देता हूं और सभी हमारे अधिकारी वर्गों को भी मैं अभिनंदन देता हूं। इसका लाभ देश के आने वाले पीढ़ियों को और देश को मिले, यही मेरे शुभकामनाओं के साथ में मेरे 2 बात मैं समाप्त करता हूं। जय हिंद।
धन्यवाद कुबर सर for your kind words of encouragement. Now I'll request the Honorable Minister to formally inaugurate and dedicate this NIPER research portal. Just as actually we have already crossed the timeline, so I'll just this is the homepage of the research portal. I'll just indicate few features of it. So basically, it presently has the details of research being carried out by all the NIPERs, and as Secretary Ma'am has already indicated, we have already requested other departments concerned to advise the organization and institutes under their domain to basically upload the details of research carried out by them also. So basically, in this research, this portal is quite user-friendly one, and it's already live and it's open to the public and industry. Anyone can do the research, can do the search on this on 2 different parameters, either on the subject. So there are 15 different subjects indicated here, or one can basically search on the basis of diseases. There are 50 odd diseases indicated there. And the third is actually another feature is the keywords. About 600 odd keywords are there. So on which basis of these keywords, research can be search can be further refined also. So let's say if I just for the sake of demonstration, I'll indicate say on the subjects of biotechnology and I do the search. So it indicates that total 30 records indicating the project title, description, the NIPER which is carried out this research, the investigators who is handling the research, his contact details, email ID, status, whether the report has been, project has been completed or is ongoing, all these details are there. So anyone can just go through these details, and if one is interested, contact details of the principal investigator is already there, so that investigator can be contacted. So if we just see this on the subject of biotechnology, there are about 30 research projects are being carried out, and in 4 different NIPERs at Ahmedabad, Guwahati, Mohali, and Kolkata. And these are 7 of the research projects are ongoing, and about 23 have already been completed. So I won't go into the other features of it, but it's quite user friendly, and anyone can just go to the basically link and further work on it. So अब मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वो सभी प्रेजेंट जो भी डिग्निटरीज हैं और हमारे नाइपर के डायरेक्टर और इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स हैं उनको संबोधित करें और आगे हमें आगे का रास्ता बताएं। माननीय मंत्री
जी नमस्ते। नाइपर रिसर्च पोर्टल के उद्घाटन के अवसर पर हमारे बीच उपस्थित मंत्रिमंडल के मेरे साथी भगवंत खुबा जी, नीति आयोग के सदस्य डॉक्टर विनोद पॉल जी, हमारे पीएसए श्री विजय राघवन जी, अपर्णा जी, सभी नाइपर के डायरेक्टर, इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हुए सभी इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट भाई एवं बहनों, आज मुझे खुशी है कि सभी नाइपर डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म के माध्यम से, एक पोर्टल के माध्यम से एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर है। सभी नाइपर में अलग अलग रिसर्च होते हैं और इंडस्ट्रीज को कोई रिसर्च की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है। दो चीज ऐसी है जो रिसर्च करने के लिए हमें प्रेरित करती है। एक है डिमांड। जब कोई चीज की रिक्वायरमेंट खड़ी हो जाती है, ऐसी स्थिति में हमें प्रेरित करते हैं कि ये हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरा कैसे करें। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अभी कोविड क्राइसिस हुई, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि देश में कोविड के सामने लड़ने के लिए सबसे बेस्ट और पहला वेपन तो वैक्सीन है। तो वैक्सीन का रिसर्च देश में होना चाहिए, ये हमारी नीड है। हम जो रिसर्च नहीं करेंगे तो हमने आज तक, यानी कि आजादी के 70 साल तक यही देखा है कि दुनिया में कोई रिसर्च हो जाए और वहां से देश में आए, वैक्सीन दुनिया में बने और दुनिया में बनने के बाद देश में आए, महंगी भी मिले, समय पर भी ना मिले। तो हमारी डिमांड थी कि हम वैक्सीन का रिसर्च करें। हमने किया। एक डिमांड रिसर्च की जर्नी होती है, दूसरा कंपटीशन, ये भी रिसर्च की जर्नी होती है। जब कोई चीज, कोई मेडिसिन हो या कोई सेक्टर हो, उसमें कंपटीशन होती है, तो कंपटीशन मार्केट को एनकेज करने के लिए सस्ता कौन दे सकता है। तो सस्ता प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करने के लिए, सस्ती प्रोडक्ट को पहुंचाने के लिए या तो उपलब्ध कराने के लिए रिसर्च की आवश्यकता होती है। तो कंपटीशन भी रिसर्च की जर्नी होती है और डिमांड भी रिसर्च की जर्नी होती है। और कई बार ऐसी स्थिति होती है, जैसा यहां खुबा जी ने बहुत अच्छा उल्लेख किया कि देश में सामर्थ्य की कमी नहीं है, हम सामर्थ्यवान है ही, लेकिन इस सामर्थ्य को चैनलाइज करने की सबसे बड़ी आवश्यकता थी और है। हम हमारे सामर्थ्य को साइलोज में करते रहे, हमारी क्षमता को मैंने कई सेक्टर में देखा। आज भी देश में इस सिस्टम को स्ट्रेंथन करने की आवश्यकता है। यहाँ डेटा की कमी नहीं है, दुनिया के पास ही डेटा ऐसा नहीं है, लेकिन ये साइलोज में है। मेटा डेटा की सिस्टम हमारे यहाँ नहीं है, रिकॉर्ड डेवलप करने की सिस्टम हमारे यहाँ नहीं थी, अभी डेवलप हो रही है। मेटा डेटा भी डेवलप हो रहा है। ये डेटा जब आप मेटा डेटा के फॉर्मेट में लाते हैं, तब आपका कई रिसर्च की विंडो ओपन हो जाती है, कई एनालिसिस ऑटोमेटिक हो जाता है। ऐसी स्थिति में हमें नाइपर में ये प्लेटफॉर्म खड़ा करके सभी नाइपर क्या रिसर्च कर रही है, नहीं केवल नाइपर के इंटरनल सिनर्जी हो और टास्क सभी नाइपर को, मैं कई बार मीटिंग में कहता हूं कि सभी नाइपर एक एक विषय पे काम कर रही है, लेकिन टास्क कौन तय करता है। मेरा मानना है कि टास्क गवर्नमेंट की ओर से भी जाना चाहिए, टास्क इंडस्ट्रीज की ओर से भी जाना चाहिए। कौन से सेक्टर में हमें ज्यादा रिसर्च करने की आवश्यकता है, जिस सेक्टर में हमें इमीडिएट रिसर्च करने की आवश्यकता है, ये सेक्टर में रिसर्च हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, ये एनालिसिस करने का अवसर ये प्लेटफॉर्म से हमें मिलेगा। यही प्लेटफॉर्म से रिसर्च और रिसर्च की सिनर्जी, रिसर्च और रिसर्च की इंफॉर्मेशन इंडस्ट्रीज तक पहुंचे और इंडस्ट्रीज की डिमांड रिसर्च को प्रभावित करे या तो रिसर्च तक पहुंचे, ये बहुत आवश्यक होता है। और इसलिए इंडस्ट्रीज की भी ये स्थिति होती है। यहाँ बहुत अच्छी बात हुई कि बड़ी इंडस्ट्रीज है, उनका रिसर्च हाउस होता है, वो स्वयं रिसर्च कर लेते हैं, लेकिन हमारे यहाँ तो एमएसएमई सबसे ज्यादा है और एमएसएमई छोटी इंडस्ट्रीज होती है, उसके पास रिसर्च का फंड नहीं होता है और उसको कोई अपना प्रॉब्लम है, अपना इश्यू है, या तो उसको कोई टास्क देना है, रिसर्च करवाना है, कोई सॉल्यूशन चाहिए, तो वो नाइपर के पास आए और वो देखे डैशबोर्ड पर, पोर्टल पर देखे कि क्या क्या चल रहा है रिसर्च नाइपर में, क्या क्या नाइपर ने पेपर पब्लिश किया है, कौन सी पेटेंट नाइपर ने की है, एक पेटेंट का कमर्शलाइजेशन मैं कर सकता हूँ क्या। इंडस्ट्रीज को ऐसा लगे तो तुरंत ही वो नाइपर को कांटेक्ट करे, संपर्क करे और उसका कमर्शलाइजेशन अच्छी तरह से वो कर पाए तो उसको रेडीमेड रिसर्च मिल जाए, बहुत आवश्यक है। मैं मानता हूं कि इस प्लेटफॉर्म का सही मायने में जो उपयोग किया जाए तो रिसर्च सेक्टर में और एमएसएमई सेक्टर में बहुत बड़ा बदलाव हो सकता है और एमएसएमई सेक्टर की बहुत डिमांड उससे फिलफुल हो सकती है। और इसलिए मेरा आग्रह है कि जुड़े। दूसरा, मैं कई बार कहता हूं दुनिया का भी ये मॉडल है और हमारे भी पुरानी वही सिस्टम थी, हमारी पुरानी एजुकेशन सिस्टम वही थी। सोसाइटी का कंट्रीब्यूशन रिसर्च में, एजुकेशन में कब आएगा? मैं मानता हूं कि हमारे नाइपर रिसर्च करती है, हमारे नाइपर इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ जोड़ के एक ऐसा मॉडल तैयार करें। यहाँ जो फंड की बात हुई, बजट की बात हुई, मैं मानता हूं कि क्या हमें टारगेट ले सकते हैं, हमारा बजट हम ही बनाएंगे। कैसे बनाएंगे? हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज, उसकी डिमांड, उसका प्रॉब्लम, उसका सॉल्यूशन, उसका टेस्टिंग फैसिलिटी हम ही क्रिएट करें और ये नाइपर के माध्यम से, बिना नाइपर चले ही नहीं, ऐसी स्थिति हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। छोटी छोटी इंडस्ट्रीज का प्रॉब्लम को सोल्व करके देना, उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरी करना, उसका कोई टास्क है तो हमें ले लेना, उसके बदले में हमें आर्थिक सहयोग मिले। ये दोनों को लिंक करके एक मॉडल अच्छा डेवलप हुआ है सीपेट में। ऐसा ही मॉडल नाइपर में डेवलप करने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं हम। आने वाले दिनों में वो करना है और इसलिए आज जब मुझे अच्छा लगा कि सभी टीम को, सभी लोगों को एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर इकट्ठा किया है। यहाँ गवर्नमेंट भी है, यहाँ रिसर्चर भी है, यहाँ नाइपर इंस्टीट्यूट भी है, यहाँ इंडस्ट्रीज भी है। हम सब लोग साथ में मिलके हमारी एक दूसरे की रिक्वायरमेंट को कैसे पूरा करें और ये रिक्वायरमेंट रिसर्च बेस्ड कैसे हो। और रिसर्च बहुत आवश्यक है और इसलिए ही हमारे लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी ने अच्छी बात कही थी, जय जवान जय किसान कहा तो वाजपेयी जी ने उसमें जोड़ दिया जय जवान जय किसान जय विज्ञान, और मोदी जी ने उसमें जय जवान जय किसान जय विज्ञान जय अनुसंधान कर दिया। रिसर्च ये रिवोल्यूशन के लिए सबसे महत्वपूर्ण होता है। रिसर्च हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट को पूरी करने के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है। रिसर्च देश की इकोनॉमी को बढ़ाने के लिए भी बहुत आवश्यक होता है, क्योंकि रिसर्च और रिसर्च पेटेंट और पेटेंट से आज दुनिया अपनी इकोनॉमी सस्टेन कर रहा है। क्या है यूरोप की स्ट्रेंथ, क्या है अमेरिका की स्ट्रेंथ? वही स्ट्रेंथ है। और रिसर्च करते हैं, पेटेंट करते हैं और पेटेंटेड ड्रग्स दुनिया को बेचते हैं और पैसा कमाते हैं। ये सामर्थ हमारे में भी है। हमारी पेटेंट हो, हमारी रिसर्च हो, हमारा स्टार्टअप हो, हमारा कमर्शलाइजेशन हो, तो हम ये मार्केट को एनकेज कर सकते हैं। आज लो वैल्यू में तो हम बहुत है, आज जेनरिक में तो हम बहुत है, लेकिन हम एक कंटेनर बेचते हैं तब हमें बहुत कम पैसा मिलता है, और वो एक बॉक्स बेचते हैं और हमसे कई गुना ज्यादा पैसा मिलता है। ये दिशा में हमें जाना है। ये प्लेटफॉर्म का ये उपयोग हो सकता है क्या? एक क्वेश्चन हमें आपको पूछना है, ये हमें ताकत देगा। देश की जो सामर्थ्यता है, हमारे साइंटिस्ट की जो क्षमता है, हमारे रिसर्चर का जो विजन है, और हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट की क्षमता है, और हमारे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट उसकी डिमांड को देखकर उसको पूरा करना है और आगे बढ़ना है। आप सब लोगों को आज के अवसर पर मेरे ओर से हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। ये प्लेटफॉर्म आने वाले दिनों में देश के रिसर्च डेवलपमेंट इन फार्मा सेक्टर में एक महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका अदा करेगा, ऐसी मेरी मान्यता है, ऐसी मेरी अपेक्षाएं है। फिर से आप सब लोगों को अनेकानेक शुभकामनाएं। धन्यवाद।
Shubhodayam, respected all, on behalf of the Department of Pharmaceuticals, it's an honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this wonderful program. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Mansukh sir, Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers, for consenting to inaugurate this NIPER research portal and making it public. Sir, whole nation is thankful to you for your leadership in this tough times. We thank you for your thoughts, and I sincerely thank Honorable Minister of State Bhagwant Kuba sir for sparing this time and gracing this occasion. I convey my sincere thanks to Secretary Madam, who is the Karta Karma Kriya behind this project, and for her visionary and inspirational leadership. I profusely thank Honorable Member Niti Ayog, Principal Scientific Advisor, for their guidance and valuable time. I also thank the industry representatives for being with us. I thank my JS for guiding for entire this project and hard work for this project. I thank all directors of NIPER for making this NIPER research portal, and I also request them to enhance the industry academic linkage going forward. I thank the media and press for being with us today. Finally, I thank NSC for making this project and the technical team of Minister of Health and Family Welfare. Thank you. Jai Bharat.
Thank you.